Good evening and welcome back to the 19th hole. We are live on the 19th hole. In Between Media, make sure you like this video, subscribe to In Between Media on YouTube, check out in-betweenmedia.com to get all the best written content that you can find. Lifestyle, sports, intertwined, all the stuff in between. Conor and I both write for In Between Media. We're both on this amazing golf show with our amazing viewers. I'm excited. I know Conor's jacked up because this is the second major of the 2023 PGA Tour season, the PGA Championship at an iconic venue at Oak Hill. I'd say we hit the drop right now. As always, Conor Coughlin alongside myself, Bo McBrayer. Thank you for joining us yet again. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the page In Between Media here on YouTube. Like this video, jingle the bell for notifications so you are notified every time we go live. It's PGA Championship week. Conor, how you feeling, buddy?
Stoked. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah, see, the crazies are coming out. Look at our deranged fans are already in the comments.
Oh yeah. No,
yeah, there we go.
Yeah, feels good to be back to another major. It's gonna be a good show. We got a lot to talk about. Couple things we did well last week, but couple things on
mostly on your part. I gotta say, my guys did the whole trunk slam thing after they did amazing on Thursday, but then shit the bed completely on Friday. So I slammed some trunks last week. Is the first time in a while that I've done that many trunk slams in a week. But I was already looking ahead.
How bad did you lose to me?
Over 100. It wasn't pretty. It was not pretty. I was 6 out of 6 out of everybody in contention after Thursday, and then plane crash. It was awful. Completely. Yeah. Okay. We got Seth. Seth is already drinking apparently. Wendy, we love you.
Oh man.
Thank you, Wendy.
I was running a smidge late tonight, so I'm still situating, but I think we're set.
Well, I'm set. I am so set.
What are you drinking there, buddy?
Whew. Apparently, I don't know my own strength. This is I've had this on the show before. Barrel Batch 2029 cast strength. That's amazing juice. I poured it over a rock, so one big cube. And it did not sit in the ice very long because it's still very strong. And I just took a big swig, and it's full strength there.
Yeah, well, the more you drink, the more fun we have. So drink up, bud.
That is correct. Conor, what you got over there? Ooh, you got a nice beer there. Chonk, is that what it says?
Yeah. So this Chonk. Is Drecker Brewing out of North Dakota, and this thing is like one of those like fruited lactose sours. And it's supposed to imitate a cabana cake, whatever the hell that is. But
I think the cabana cake isn't necessarily a dessert of some variety. That seems like something you would see wearing a bikini in Vegas at the pool.
You see how thick this is? It's like a smoothie.
Yeah, I get the name Chonk. My daughter likes cats, and there's a meme going around that asked you to find your cat on the Chonk chart. From skinny cats like Siamese cats all the way to the big obese ones like Garfield. We have 2 cats. One's a 8 on the Chonk chart, and the other one's a 7, soon to be an 8.
You're gonna have to send me a link to that. I have no idea, but I'm a dog person, so it's not Outside of the sphere.
I'm just an animal. We're just a farm over here.
That makes both of us are animal lovers. I think you got the market cornered on quantity, though.
Yeah, it's the Swiffers that we buy in bulk at Costco are absolutely necessary. Let's just say that. Conor, let's hit the spin it back. We want to breeze through the Byron Nelson. Is that, I don't even remember because I blacked out after my train crash of a Friday, and completely didn't check DraftKings because I already knew I was dead. But let's spin it back to the Byron Nelson since you do have some victory lapping to do. That's such a swanky tune. It's like, where are the flappers at? This is Prohibition era.
Yeah, I feel like we should be in a dimly lit, like, speakeasy immediately when we come back on screen.
Yep. Everybody's wearing bow ties for absolutely no reason.
Last show of the year, we'll wear bow ties.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Hold me to that. So, Byron Nelson in Texas, it was rough for me. I thought I was doing great until it didn't happen that way. You had a pretty good lineup against me. We had a lot of similar plays, but for whatever reason, the guys that I picked and put in my lineups just fizzled out on Friday. Yours held true. You had the victory lap goes to Mr. Jason Day fan over here. Jason Day 42069 on AIM for all of you looking to hook up with Mr. Coughlin here. Jason Day, you said he was either going to win at the Byron Nelson or at the PGA. You might go back to back. Who knows? He's got 1-for-1 so far in that prediction. Very impressive win over a pretty good top-heavy leaderboard, including my guy, Scotty Scheffler, who looked good until Saturday. Saturday was a bad round for him. The rest of the time, he looked unbeatable.
I said it on the show. I want the clip where I said, I mark my words, if Jason Day does not win in the next 2 weeks, you will never hear another word about Jason Day from me. And thankfully, he won, so you can keep hearing about him from me. Because
now you're going to be insufferable.
Absolutely, because I've been saying for probably 6 weeks now that Jason Day was coming. Jason Day is coming, and he's in amazing form going into the PGA Championship, which I liked him for this week. Over a month ago, I kind of pinned him as somebody that I was really stoked about for this. So, and
he's so easy to root for. I love that guy.
Easy to root for, and like you know how emotional he was losing his mom a year ago, and wearing the pink on Sunday and
winning on Mother's Day. The last time he won Dash Day was a tiny little kid, and now he's a full-grown man out there. He's a teenager, of course, but he's a full-grown man. Dash Day, since we saw Jason Day last win 5 years ago, Dash Day has grown up. So you just love to see it. Jason Day, class act, been through hell and back with his back injuries, his vertigo, his mother passing, the whole 9 yards up against him. I think that was his 13th win. This guy's world class when he's on.
And he's just nails, dude. Like coming down 18 in the pouring rain, sticks it to
Don't care.
Didn't even hesitate, just sticks it. I mean, not for a second did I think he was not making that putt.
Nope.
It was so exciting. And then, like to your point, there were a lot of guys up there that we also were pretty high on. Both of our player pools and our betting cards. We did pretty well. We had a couple of deep dives, and
we did.
To be honest, one of them, though I was really excited about him, and I'll talk about him more tonight, but I played a lot of David McCluskey at the bottom of lineups, allowing me to stack Scheffler and Matsuyama up top and do a lot of Scheffler Day.
Yes.
And my boy made the cut and actually shot really well on Friday, but just didn't score enough points for me, and ended up kind of hurting me, even though I was stacked so top heavy. So
yeah, he had a rough weekend, but him making the cut was huge for you.
Other than that, I mean, I think just to take a couple more stabs at you on the Scotty thing, I kind of said his Achilles heel was going to be some of the short game, and it did prove to be part of the issue again.
Just on Saturday.
I mean, it's amazing though, to our point about Scotty just being a step above the rest of the world. I mean, he plays
on Thursday and Friday. He was so good that we're like, oh crap. I thought I was for sure I was going to be right after his first 2 rounds. Cause he went 64. And I was like, oh boy, this is going to be fun, because I said even Scotty's B+ game wins this tournament running away. And that was his A- game. And he was running away with it. And it just, Saturday came around and he only shot 1 or 2 under, and that was basically letting everybody back in. And then J-Day comes in with a 62, 9 under on Sunday. Absolutely ridiculous round of golf in those conditions. Rain, the ball wasn't rolling anywhere at the end of the round. And he had a lot of people bunched up at the top. I think it was 20 guys within 2 strokes of the lead. That's nails. That is nails.
I definitely think that there is some kind of a correlation too at this course between shooting really well and being from an Asian country. Like, I couldn't believe all of the different.
Well, mostly Korean, even though CT Pan is from Chinese Taipei, but all the Koreans that we predicted would be up there were up there. Siwoo was there. Hideki was up there. We kind of knew he was going to, because he was one of the only top guys in the world rankings that were at the tournament.
My boy,
it was just great. Yeah, just like all the South Koreans were at the top, all the Australians were at the top, and we both said that on the show last week. It's like Australia, South Korea, book it, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, so write that down for next year, because there's a strong correlation, it seems.
Very strong. Let's get right into the betting side of it. Let's hit the drop, and I'll have you go over one of the best golf courses on planet Earth, Oak Hill Country Club. Oak Hill Country Club, East Course. Take it away, Connor.
God, I'm so excited to watch this course for 4 days. So excited. It's just gorgeous and just majestic. Let's call it majestic.
I love it.
So yeah, Oak Hill Country Club, East Course, Rochester, New York. This is on bent grass. Your par 70, about 7,400 yards. There's only 2 par 5s out here, both of which are very generously over 600 yards. So those should be fun.
Long the Llama. big hitter, the Llama. Long.
Total consciousness. So just like pretty much any major, it's going to be set to PGA like championship style grooming. So you're going to have longer rough. You're going to have a lot thicker rough on top of that. So it's lush. It's long.
Narrow fairways.
It is narrow fairways, but and I know you know this, it was renovated over the last decade or so since they held a PGA Championship here, and they did a major project to remove a lot of the trees to kind of open it up, get it back to a little more of the Ross like type of signature, play to a point, have specific sight lines. But that being said, it still narrows at a lot of those 300 yard ish landing spots that people are going for. And then just to screw it up a little bit more, we went ahead and threw in some bunkers to obstruct those landing zones. So
nasty bunkers too.
Really nasty bunkers. And some of the greenside ones that I saw some of the players out in the practice rounds are just gross. The rough around it, super deep. The embankment.
That's one of the Ross signature things that they threw back onto the course was instead of having a closely mown fairway grass around the bunkers greenside, it's the thick rough. It's not the primary cut. It's the bushy stuff all the way around those bunkers greenside. So, I didn't hit it in the bunker, but I can barely make a stance and I can't see my ball unless I'm right on top of it. This is going to be fun. fun in a masochistic kind of way.
Well, God help you if the grass grabs the ball before it makes it to the bunker, because good luck getting out of that. I mean, it's straight cabbage. So, like we kind of talked about a little bit already, this is definitely kind of a hit to a spot type of course. Second shot approach, super important. As I touched on, a lot of the A positions that you're looking for this week are going to be kind of riddled with bunkers and narrowing fairways. A lot of your second shots are going to come from about 175 plus, quite a few exceeding 200 plus, depending on the golfer. And the majority of the greens are, though the green complex is a little smaller, they aren't terribly difficult to stick. They're in great condition. The unfortunate thing is that if you are wayward at all, most, if not all, of the greens have some semblance of a runoff and collection area. So
a lot like Pinehurst with the crowning.
Yep.
So
like elevated.
if you miss your spot, you're going to run off into that thick rough, or hopefully not, but into one of those disgusting bunkers that have mustaches and eyebrows. And another thing that I noticed was almost every single green, its most severe slope is from back to front. So if you hit your approach shot past the hole, you're not going to score a birdie. It's just not going to happen. So your tougher putts are going to be behind the hole, or to this, if you're hole high even, you're going to have a really nasty sidewinder putt. A lot of these guys are going to be trying to hit numbers 6 to 10 feet shy of the hole and try to stay below the hole at any cost, because that's the only chance they're going to have of having a makeable birdie putt even if they have a good shot on approach.
Yep, that was going to be my next point as well. So, and that's really something to take into account. And if you do look at some of the guys that have closer proximity on approach, those guys might be guys to target this week. Not only because they get closer, but because of that accuracy piece. If they're aiming for a number that's 6 to 10 feet short, chances are better than average. They're more likely to hit it than some of the other guys in the field. Then if all of that other fun wasn't enough, there's Allen's Creek that runs through the majority of these holes, forcing
all pretty much the whole front nine, right?
Yeah, pretty much the whole front nine. Yeah. And so the way that this thing winds through and through causes a lot of weird force layups. It does take long sticks out of some of the bigger hitters' hands, which is really kind of cool. I mean, this course is actually kind of set up and will be set up even more so to test all skill sets rather. I do think a bit of a bomber's edge at this course. And if nothing else, club head speed and muscle power out of some of these, because people are going to be in the rough, man. I mean, it's inevitable. So,
well, and they're going to be interrupted, even though they removed a lot of those oak trees. There's still a lot of big, gigantic oak trees, and the old adage that trees are 90% air does not apply to oak trees, especially right now when they're in full foliage mode. You hit into an oak tree, it's going straight down.
I can assure you from my playing style that trees are not that percentage of air.
No.
But so like we touched on last time, the PGA Championship was held here, was 2013. Jason Duffner won that. And this is typically, I mean, as you would imagine with a major, this is going to be low scoring. I would guesstimate the score somewhere between 7 and 8 under. I know that Bo may disagree with me a smidge on that, but 7 to 8 under is about the max. And the only reason I think that we're going to get even that low is that the weather is supposed to hold. We're not supposed to really have anything adverse. It should be a pretty mild week. So, I don't think I left anything out, Bo, but if you got anything to add, knock away.
Yeah, I'll disagree with you a little bit on the score, because I do believe that a lot of these courses where we predict winning scores in the double digits under par, they have at least 5 or 6 clear holes to take advantage of. Oak Hill might have 3, maybe 2.5 birdieable holes where if you don't make a birdie, you're disappointed. And then this course has about 13 holes where you are completely giddy about a par. So this course could set up even with the best conditions weather-wise, where everything's not too fast. There's not enough wind to really cause too much havoc. I still think it's a course that ranges between 2 over and 6 under par. So I'm going to say -2, just kind of splitting the difference there, because I do feel like even the winner is going to have one round where he shoots 74, 75, and he's going to have to pull something together to win this tournament. It's going to take one really special round to win this thing and just survival the rest of the 3. That's kind of how I picture it going. So low, definitely bad scoring as far as relative to par. This is the toughest course they're going to play all season. This is, if you know what slope rating is on golf courses, 135 is considered extremely difficult. This course plays to a 153, which is bonkers.
Yeah, you and I would be about 10 over par leaving our car.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's with our handicaps.
Yeah.
All right. So who's your top guy? We do have a couple guys at the top that are less than 10-1 odds to win. Of course, Jon Rahm, Scotty Scheffler. We've seen some recent movement quite a bit in that second tier that we'll cover, but Rory McIlroy has slipped all the way past 12-1 and is now slipping towards 15-1 by the time we lock. Recent form plays a huge part in that. Plus, if you miss the fairways here, you are not going to do very well. And Rory McIlroy can't find the fairway with a compass right now. I'm worried about him. And a lot of people are saying, oh, buy the dip. And you might be one of them since you're his biggest fan ever. Tell me why you would bet Rory McIlroy this week.
Where do I start? It's still Rory McIlroy, right? Like, I mean, yeah.
Allegedly. We haven't seen him play very well this year.
100%. And I realize that this is maybe one of those things that we look at next week and go, man, that was just dead money. But I will say that if you look at Rory over 100 rounds, it's not uncommon for Rory to have a little dip, a little bit of a slide here and there. I think that some of the mental stuff he's been doing over the last 2-3 weeks, trying to kind of separate himself a little bit or distance himself a little bit from the press and the nonsense. I think he's going to come into this with a better mindset. Now, mindset is great, but you still gotta play the game of golf. And right now, I mean, Rory's putting is abysmal. Rory's accuracy off the tee has been less than great.
Very scary.
But I will say, as Rory's number keeps sliding and sliding and sliding, I mean, this is probably the only time that you can get that kind of a number on Rory and really cash in if he does show up. So I like the bet mostly because I like the number, mostly because I have faith in the golfer that he is. But yeah, at the top or in these shorter odds, I mean, I'm definitely leaning more towards Scotty and Xander, and I'll let you talk about Xander.
Yeah, Scotty appeals to me too. Maybe if I'm feeling extra frisky, it's plus 750, which is going to pay out 7.5-1 if he wins. I'm not sure. Like, even though out of the top 3 golfers in the world here, he's my favorite to win this. Out of those 3, the odds are still too short for me to feel great about him on a course like this, where the short game has to be spot on. Like this course, if you're traditionally a great short game player like Scotty is, a great scrambler like Scotty is, but you're not at your top form in that category, it's going to eat you up. And Jon Rahm started off the year super, super hot, 4 wins to kick off the season, otherworldly, just taking over the tour, and he's really cooled off since then. He's still amazing, but he's not like I'm winning everything that I play in type Jon Rahm lately. Rory hasn't been himself at all this year. He could snap back into it any time. Last time we doubted Scotty, he won a tournament. So it was almost like, okay, as soon as we start doubting these world-class golfers, that's when they really kick it into high gear and play up to their potential. This isn't that type of tournament. I want a guy who's coming in absolutely scorching hot, because if you're out of your game at any part of the bag at Oak Hill, you are not going to win, period. That's why we've seen a lot of weird winners. Sean McKeel in 03, Duffner in 13, 23. There's a whole lot of guys here down with lesser odds than these top guys that could very well win this tournament because they're simply playing better coming into the week. And Xander Schauffele is the hottest golfer on planet Earth right now. maybe besides Jason Day. Jason Day winning kind of pushes him up the board for me too, understandably. But Xander Schauffele is a top 5 machine, and he knows how to win. We kind of clowned him last year until he won a couple times and shut us up. But we went from saying Xander's great except he doesn't win to Xander's great and he can win anything he puts his mind to. And as far as grinders go, which you're going to have to be to win Oak Hill, I can't think of anybody with better odds that is a bigger grinder of playing tough golf courses than Xander Schauffele. That's why I love him so much. Unfortunately, at the same time, I bet him at 22-1 and he's already down to 16-1. So the case has hit the wind. Everybody knows Xander's awesome and he's coming in red hot, and now the odds aren't as great. So I don't feel as excited about 16-1, but that's kind of the number I was hoping he would be at, 16-18, and I was happy to get him earlier on at 22 and then 20. And as it gets less and less appealing, I'm just saying, okay, let's look for somebody else in that same range. But I still put some money on Xander already, then I feel really good about it.
Yeah, I got nothing to add to Xander. I guess the one thing that I would maybe disagree with you on about everything you just said is Jon Rahm not being in great form. I mean, Jon Rahm won the Masters and then turned around and almost won in Mexico, the next week. So, I mean, I would definitely say Jon Rahm is in form. It takes a little more than a wing.
But is his game suitable for a course like this?
That's where I would agree with you. Like that's why I like Scotty at that 750 or 700 depending on where you're looking.
The proximity game for Rahm, he's been overcoming it, but it's not sharp like compared to Scotty. Scotty's approach game is immaculate, and Rahm's best strengths are off the tee, which does play well here. But you got to be close to the hole here. You got to be in makeable putt range, which even in makeable putt range, Rahm has struggled a bit at times this year. So yeah, I just don't feel it on Rahm. I very well be wrong. Like he's the best golfer in the world.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of just like a catch-22 for me, where I don't feel as confident about him, but he could very well dominate this whole thing.
As far as having two guys, right at the same odds, essentially favored to win. I think really for anybody listening, it's really a pick 'em. I mean, take the guy that you like better. I don't know that I would say that one or the other is in better form than the other. Both of them have some gaps in their games. I would agree with Bo. My stance would be, I think Scotty fits the course a little bit better than John.
There's a first time for everything, guys.
Which probably means Scotty will miss the cut.
Yeah, probably.
Let's see. Xander, no complaints from me on Xander. I would say probably my next guy is going to be Brooks Koepka, who I wrote up about 4 weeks ago when he was significantly better odds. So
he got a lot of steam too.
Got a lot of steam. This is a guy though. I think this whole narrative about the live guys can't play, 4 rounds of golf. Okay, yeah, wonderful. I mean, if you want to believe that, believe that. These guys are
still got top 5
former world number ones. Like these are, just for argument's sake, I mean, Brooks Koepka gained almost 6.5 strokes on approach at the Masters. So
he'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll be just fine. And so in a major, that killer instinct we talk about, like I think
pretty sure he's won this thing twice already. So
I mean, I think at 20-1, I mean, it's silly not to throw a couple bucks at Brooks Koepka. So
I see your 20-1 on Brooks Koepka, and I raise you a 30-1 on perhaps a better golfer from the Live Tour, Dustin Johnson. What do you think about that? I think those odds are ridiculous. The guy just dominated last week at Tulsa, and yes, it was a 54-hole event on the Live Tour, but DJ is back. DJ is full on back. That dude is outrageously good. Former world number 1, major winner. And as far as talent goes, I don't think there's anybody more talented at the game of golf on the planet right now than Dustin Johnson. But all these live guys, every single one of these live guys is getting a discount on sweet nectar odds for no reason other than people don't like the Live Tour. I don't like it either. I'd rather these guys didn't have to take gigantic sums of Saudi money and they could stay on the PGA Tour and make just as much as they are now, staying with the best golf in the world. These guys did not forget how to play golf. We just saw it at Augusta, where 5 of these guys were in the top 15 at Augusta, rolling off the couch, including 52-year-old Phil Mickelson, who I don't think he'll compete here this week, but we didn't think he would at Augusta either. Dustin Johnson, for me, at 30-1 seems just outlandish and stupid, to be honest. Like, if he wins, nobody's going to be surprised. Not a single soul will be surprised if Dustin Johnson wins this thing. And he's getting 30-1 odds. What is going on out here?
Dude, there's probably, I mean, I'm not even lying to you. I probably got more guys from the Live Tour on this betting card.
They're 3 of my 6 here. They're 3 of my 7.
These great numbers on all of them. Like we touched on, Brooks Koepka and Dustin Johnson are two of my highest, I guess, highest favored in my opinion in my modeling to really make a run at winning this. So can't fault you on any of that. And Dustin Johnson, if you think about it, just skill set wise, can bomb the golf ball, has a great around the green and scrambling game when needed. I like him out of the sand, which there's plenty of. I like him out of deep rough, which there's plenty of. And all we really need is for his putter to be even. Okay. Yeah, for DJ, if he's got an okay putter, he's gaining strokes on the field anyway because he's a pretty.
He destroyed the Masters with an okay putter.
Yeah. So yeah, DJ at 30-1 is, I mean, that's, to Bo's point, just stupid. I think you hammer on that one for sure. That's a great number.
Hard, so hard, smash. I go down, and I know you don't like this guy, but Matt Fitzpatrick. We're talking about grinders. You hate him, but you hate him.
I hate him.
Yeah, you hate him.
I hate him.
You hate him in the same way you hate Tony Finau, where you just don't want to play him because every time you play him, he screws you. Well, he doesn't screw me anymore because he's been winning the last few times he's played on tough courses where it demands a great short game and polish around all the parts of the golf bag. Every shot needs to be hit at Oak Hill. Matt Fitzpatrick's all-around game is stellar, especially this year. He just won a major at Brookline last year. This guy is nails. There's no pressure that he can't overcome. Winning the U.S. Open trumps the PGA, except for Oak Hill's a tougher course than Brookline. But also, it's the same field. It's the same gathering of titans of the golf game. And Matt Fitzpatrick, we just saw less than a year ago, completely take down all of those people on a tough course to take that home. So him getting 30-1 odds to me is also nuts. Even though you don't like playing him, I get why you don't like playing him because we've all been burned by certain guys, like plenty of times. And Fitz used to burn me 2 years ago. I couldn't stand Fitz either because he just burned me every time I played him. But lately, Fitz has been looking pretty shiny.
Yeah, I hate Matt Fitzpatrick. He'll probably win.
I know you do. I hope he does. 30-1's really nice.
So just to back you up, and I'm not going to try and support your argument because I'm not a fan of Matt Fitzpatrick. I think he's rounding back into form, but I don't think that he's as close to being the golfer he was last season. So anyways, but he is a grinder. He is generally pretty accurate. He's done a lot of things to improve his distance, which if he can continue to get better and improve on club speed and all that stuff that he's been working on. Matt Fitzpatrick is gonna be a threat to win for years to come, obviously. So I mean, he's a great player, but at 30-1, or I've seen it as high as 32 this afternoon. I like taking a shot at Justin Thomas. Justin Thomas, oh boy, we've been bashing Justin Thomas for quite some time.
Defending champion of the PGA Championship, although at a different course.
He's got a mean direct left snap hook that likes to show up.
It won't play well here. It will not play well here. It doesn't play well anywhere, but especially at Oak Hill.
But what's interesting is over the last 20 rounds, he's gone from only gaining about a stroke and a half off the tee to his last 5 rounds, he's averaging close to 2.3 strokes off the tee, which
how's his strokes gained on approach over 175 though? Because that number scares me. Like, it scares the bejesus out of me.
yeah, so 175 to 200, he's actually in the top 15. It's the 200 plus that gets a little dicey. He drops down considerably. I ran my model 2 different ways. One way put him in the high 80s. The other way put him at about 112. So
yeah, I think it was 93 in mine. So split
gets
the difference.
a little dicey from those distances. However, I think that Justin Thomas is just another guy that people, for whatever reason, do not kind of view him as being able to bomb a golf ball or be able to hit, a very muscled shot, have high club head speed, the things that we talked about. He averages 312 yards off the tee. I mean, he's not a short hitter. And, his approach game, Bo and I talk a lot about this. His approach game hasn't been the stellar JT approach game of a couple last year, maybe the year before even.
Putting too. Ugh.
Yeah, his putting scares me a little bit, but his approach game actually, he's one of those guys. When we talk about their B+ performance still being an A+ for a lot of guys, I mean, that's Justin Thomas. So I like the number on him. I like the trend that he's on. Like I said, just looking at the stats over the last 20 and whittling it down to the last 5 rounds that he's played, he's improved in every single strokes gain category. So I think JT might be due.
When's his last win, by the way?
I think Clinton was in office.
No, it was the PGA Championship last year, I believe. And Matt Fitzpatrick's last win was 4 weeks ago at the RBC Heritage, which actually pretty similar layout, if we're being honest. Narrow, oak trees, overhanging landing areas. Matt Fitzpatrick, to me, just lines up so well here, and especially with the recent form being quite a bit better than JT's. That's kind of what I love JT more than a lot of people, but this week I just don't. Again, I don't feel it because of the way he's coming into the week. I hope he plays well, but I don't feel great about it.
Yeah, you just got to hope that Matt Fitzpatrick doesn't lose any more strokes on approach. I mean, he's essentially flatline on overall approach. So
yeah, middle of the pack.
I understand the grinding, but I'll take JT at almost 3 strokes gained on approach versus Matt Fitzpatrick at flatline. That's just my honest opinion.
Okay, so who do I have next? Cam Smith. And I'm sure you have Cam Young, or am I right about that? Or we have a battle of the Cams this week?
Well, can I just say that you absolutely have got to bet Jason Day?
Well, we talked about him already.
Yeah, but you got to.
What are his odds? Let's not skip over Jason Day because we do love him so dearly.
He's 28 to 1. He's
nice.
Down from a month ago. He was 40 to 1 when I wrote him up as my pretty much odds-on favorite to win. But he's 40 to 1 4 weeks ago. He's down to 28, I believe, 22, 28. And he's just coming off a win. He's still the hottest golfer on the planet, in my opinion. Like, he's got form for days right now. And he showed every aspect of his game over the last 4 days at the Byron Nelson. So I don't think it's time to get off of Jason Day. I liked him. I liked him from the jump to win this tournament. I still like him to win this tournament.
Happy birthday to Dee Dee Lake. Turning 40 today. She doesn't look a day over 29, so I think she's full of crap. But happy birthday, Dee Dee. I hope your hubby's cooking for you instead of the reverse, which is probably standard.
I noticed that you're not jumping in on the Jason Day commentary, so I'm going to assume.
I just don't think he goes back to back. I don't think he's back to back guy. I love him, but I'm not betting him.
God,
DFS wise, it's a different story. I'm all over on DFS, especially with his price being ridiculously low for somebody who just won. He gets the win shadow price point at the PGA because the pricing had already come out for the PGA before he won at the Byron Nelson. So I love him there. But yeah, I'm going to go down to Cam Smith from Australia. Mulleted, mustachioed Cam Smith. world's best approach player inside 150 yards, world's best short game, world's best putting game. If he can find some fairways this week, which he's been great at finding fairways this year, he's not a long hitter, which Conor's going to discount him for. But this year he is hitting fairways, and I just think that if you have a guy that lethal in the fairway, he's gonna win some golf tournaments. He's gonna make a ton of birdies on holes he has no business making birdie on. I love Cam Smith in most places, and a place that requires thinking around the golf course. We just saw him last year take home the Players pretty convincingly at a similar type course where you have to be able to plan your shots ahead of time. This for me, this just screams Cam Smith if he's got the driver working.
Yeah, I'm neutral on Cam Smith.
He's still top 10 in the world. And these live guys aren't getting any points for their performances in the world golf rankings, and Cam Smith is still top 10 and 35-1 for a top 10 world golfer. Make it make sense.
Yeah, you can't, which is why I said I got more live guys on the betting card than anything else. Yes. I mean, I think the number begs you to play it. I do worry about Cam Smith, especially off the tee. But you already said that, so I won't beat that dead horse.
Other than that, though.
Yeah, and it just depends on what version of Cam Smith putter we get, like if he shows up and if he can even putt average to the field, again, he's another guy. If he can just putt average, that'd be great. Typically that's not the putter that we've gotten out of him, and it's not even the putter that we're getting out of him on the Live Tour. I know you don't watch as much of the Live as I do, but I mean, he's not exactly.
I don't get the CW.
He's not exactly tearing the Live Tour apart, you know what I mean? No. So I do have some concerns with Cam Smith, maybe a little bit more than some of the other Live guys that I like. I'm definitely saying I think it's a great number on him, though. I definitely think he is, to your point, Bo, somebody that absolutely can grind this out and win this tournament too. So, yeah, I wouldn't say don't play him. I definitely think around that number, I probably have slightly more interest in Sungjae Im, just a little bit. And I don't say Sungjae often, but his approach game is just perfect. It's really good. His off the tee game is very accurate. He's not the longest hitter on tour by any means.
Short game immaculate.
Yeah, just overall ball striking. The guy is a machine.
Tee to green, he rates out well.
Yeah, very well. I mean, top 3.
Yeah, he was fourth. Yeah. He was top 5 in all the ball striking metrics for me. And which is why I was so overjoyed to get him as my 4th round pick in that majors pool with Linda Lyons. That was awesome. I couldn't believe that.
Down, dude. I got such a good team in that.
Yeah, I think you're good enough for 2nd place.
Okay. I don't think you're going to say any of the next couple of guys, so I'll jump to mine because I think you'll be outside of him. Ricky Fowler at what is now 55-1. He was 100-1 when I wrote him up a month ago. I wish everybody had grabbed him at that number because I think this sets up so nice for Ricky. He's doing everything right that lines up with this course. He's absolutely on fire. And Ricky, in my opinion, at least traditional Ricky, tends to play better at tougher courses, tougher competition. And I wish it was like downpouring and windy because then I'd really be excited about Ricky.
Yeah.
So for all the key stats we're looking at, I think Ricky lines up perfect. Like I mentioned, I wish he was a little longer off the tee, but his long iron game is pretty stout. So loved him at 100. Still love him at 55. I would try and grab it sooner than later because I think he definitely is on trajectory to win soon. I don't know 100% if it's this week, but it's coming.
Yeah, I like Ricky. I always like Ricky. Ricky's like growing up watching golf. It's like that's one of your favorites, one of everybody's favorites out there. It's like it's really hard to root against a guy that nice, that been that classy his whole career. Even when he was a young buck on the tour wearing bright orange on Sundays, like head to toe orange with his long flowy hair and suntan. You're like who is this guy? And you hear him talking, he's just nothing but respect and class. And that goes a long way to making lifelong fans. Some of these other golfers can take notes around the same area of pricing. But I like Tommy Fleetwood a little bit at 65-1, but I'm in love with another live guy at 70-1, Joaquin Niemann. What the hell happened to this guy where he's 70-1? He was number one in my model by a mile. We're talking of country mile. Joaquin Niemann, ball striking wise, is absolutely world class. Tee to green, absolutely fantastic. He was unstoppable last year before he went to live. He was on a heater. He went to live, took his money. Hasn't been playing that much this last year, but when he does play and show up, he's playing extremely well. What's going on? 70-1 for him just seems like an insult at this point.
Yep. I mean, you and I are. It's a handful of golfers that we see completely eye to eye on. I love Joaquin Niemann. I think he's got every shot in the book. I think he's
70-1. 70.
He's an absolute ball striking machine as well. Like, I mean,
he reminds me of Jose Maria Olazabal, ball striking wise.
He's just incredible, right? Like, that number, he's again another live guy that I was really shocked at how big a number they put on him. I mean, that just seems. I would actually argue that Joaquin Niemann should be down in the Dustin Johnson range. Different golfer, but
wasn't he top 10 in the world when he went to live?
I don't think he was ever that good.
But he was winning tournaments.
Well, oh yeah, I mean, he was up there. I mean, I don't remember what his how many wins he's got, or if he's got any official like PGA.
He's got three. I think he's got 3 or 4 PGA Tour wins, and most of them came the last 2 years.
But yeah, I mean, incredible value. It's just a stupid number on him. And again, to kind of elaborate, so it's not just saying, hey, we like a guy. I mean, he can shape the ball any direction. He's got enough distance to get to a lot of the spots that you want him to hit to. He can do a low ball flight. He can do a high ball flight. He can
score on tough courses.
He's got a good around the green game, not amazing, but good enough. And he's, again, another guy that if he just putts maybe to his B+ level, I mean, he's better than 2/3 of the field. So, yeah, that's a stupid number. And I think I feel pretty confident at throwing a couple bucks at it. Plus, you should be able to get a good T10, T5 number on that as well.
Oh yeah, that's what I was about to say. Is his top 10 number is plus 550. So you're getting 5.5-1 for him to crack the top 10. That's nice.
Grab that one. Well, let's rattle off a couple more so we can do some DFS for some people too.
Yep. Yep.
Sure.
Siwoo at 90. We don't have to go into too much detail of these lower guys because we're taking shots at this point. Siwoo, ball striking off the tee especially. We just saw him compete again last week and the week before that. He's in red hot recent form, getting no respect from the odds books right now. 90-1 for him is an insult, especially with how well he's played.
I love Siwoo this week.
Yep. And then I'm going to throw one more out there, Kurt Kitayama. I'm doing the same bet because remember going into Bay Hill, not playing very well, no top 20 finishes this season since the Hawaii stretch. And he comes into Bay Hill, and I just had this feeling that he fit the golf course really well. I ignored all the metrics and said, I'm going to put $5.30 for our area code here in NorCal on Kurt Kitayama, and 250-1 paid out $1,300 because he stared down all the top golfers under the most immense pressure imaginable and won that tournament. And he's coming off since that Bay Hill win, he's missed all 4 cuts. He hasn't looked terrible, but he's just missed cuts and by small margins hasn't played great. But again, an Oak Hill, different ball flights, power is rewarded. If he finds fairways, his long iron approach game is top 10 in the world. His short game is immaculate around the greens. He's one of the best bunker players and scramblers on tour. And if he can make a damn putt, that was the caveat at Bay Hill, is if Kurt Kitayama can make a putt, then he can play with anybody. Anybody. We saw it. He's the pressure. He's impervious to pressure. And 250 to 1 for a guy who's top 20 in the world rankings. It seems crazy. But it's taking a deep shot, $5.30 on my shout out NorCal, Kurt Kitayama. And it's more just like gut plus I'm a big friend of the guy. And of course, just golf course fit. Golf course fitting a guy's eye means a lot more than people give credit to.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to throwing a couple bucks at Kurt. I think the thing with Kurt, we talk about it a lot. I like to root for him. Great dude, got a very complete game.
Friend of the show.
The biggest challenge I think for Kurt is just string together 4 rounds where he's got his game all in one piece. And I'm willing to bet you if you asked him that he would probably tell you the same thing. When he's got it all together, he's one of the best players on the tour. But it's going to take 4 rounds here. So that's the only thing that I worry a little bit. So for me, I'll just rattle a couple. Wyndham Clark, 80 to 1. Nice. Loved him for weeks now. He lines up for all the same reasons on this course. Great off the tee, great approach. His putter has been actually pretty decent.
Mental game.
Yep. And he's in a super good mental place, as he talked about. So 80 to 1 for a guy who just won seems off to me.
Yeah.
Patty Reed, 90 to 1. That guy everybody loves to hate is
he's
grinder.
Yeah.
The
grinder. The best golfer I've ever seen on brutal conditions. Like you take away all the things that everybody hates about him because he's the most unlikable athlete on the planet right now. He's still one of the most talented golfers to ever live. It's wild to say that about anybody outside of Jack and Tiger and maybe Phil and Arnie, but Patrick Reed has all the talent in that pinky finger to turn it on and play well and win more majors. He's already won a couple. But this guy, everybody hates him. I hate him. I can't stand to watch him. And he cheats and he gets away with it and he cheats and he gets caught and he doesn't care. He doesn't care about anything. He crashes his car, throws it in a lot. Nobody cares because the dude's still so good at golf that 90 to 1 is insane.
Yep. It's, exactly what I was saying about him. 90 to 1 on Patrick Reed. Patrick Reed, such a good golfer. I take out personality. We're not here to win popularity contests, here to win money. And Patrick Reed, give me him 10 out of 10 times going into Sunday in the last pairing. I 100%. Patrick Reed will take it down most of the time. The other 2 guys, deep shots, just to throw a couple of names out there that I actually believe from way. First one, he's my second one. The first one is Yannick Paul, who's 400 to 1. Great World Tour player.
Where's he from?
Germany, I believe.
Deutschland.
So a couple things about him and why I like him. 312-yard average distance off the tee, 67% driving accuracy off the tee, 75.7% greens in regulation. Wow. And on top of that, the boy can putt. The only spots that he loses strokes in, at least over the last 100 measured PGA rounds, which he only has about 10 of them on the PGA, but tends to lose shots around the green. So again, he's a super deep shot. So you're not going to get the total package, but of everything that he does well, I can say that him being almost flat on around the green, I think that's a pretty good number on a guy who absolutely has the chops to play here. And then Bo knows that my new flavor of the month, David McClusey from Australia, who most people that have written him up would tell you that he's the best thing to come out of Australia, arguably ever.
Wow.
Had his first PGA event.
Those are big shoes to fill with such illustrious major winners as Greg Norman and Jason Day and Cam Smith and all these other amazing Australians. But yeah, okay, we're gonna say David Micheluzzi is gonna be the greatest Australian golfer ever.
I think he's up there.
I think that's outlandish.
I think
a
little backstory on him. This is now the second time that he has claimed the Australian World Championship. His second time he's been nominated as the Players' Choice Award. He qualified to be on the PGA in 2019, but due to the COVID restrictions, couldn't fulfill his obligations on tour. So then it took him another 3 years to requalify, get his stuff together, and come over here. And his first start last week.
That's bull crap. He should have been able to get on either way.
Oh, his first PGA start last week came out, made the cut. I believe he shot 1 under his first round, 4 under his second round. Didn't have a killer weekend, but he's another guy that is very good off the tee, has a lot of different shot shapes he can put on the ball, good around the green, has a decent putter, and wins frequently throughout the rest of the world. So if you don't know the name, you should get to know the name. And at 500 to 1, I think he's worth a shot.
For sure. 500 to 1. That's insane. If you have anybody that if you've heard of anybody at 500 to 1, then you should play them. Let's hit the drop. Let's do some no trunk slams. I'm tired of slamming my trunks. After 1 week of doing it, I already hate it. So let's get into the DFS part.
The club is well. This would be a wrestling slam.
Conor, I need you to give us some leverage picks because this is the major tournament where the chalk is going to be concentrated, and we want to avoid it at all costs because we know from past years where Sean McKeel and Jason Duffner have won here that nobody that anybody has is going to win this damn thing and win a lot of money on DraftKings.
The Sean McKeel, I love it.
Right?
Well, so this week we're very fortunate. The database that I use for ownership projections actually has almost 8,000 generated lineups already. So we've got
the lobbies are chocked full of contests right now.
So we've got some actual reliable numbers this week. Last week when we ran our reports, we only had about 2,000 lineups to go off of.
I think it was only 800 when we ran it last Tuesday.
It was low. So we were doing a lot of guesstimating. This week, we were going to be pretty close with the numbers, I think.
Yep.
So I guess starting at the top, huh?
There's 5 guys over 10K. That seems like a lot.
I think that the thing about the top of this pricing structure right now is really you've got 2 guys that are back and forth for number 1 in the world. I mean, how do you price them? You price them
right next to each other.
as though they're number 1 in the world, right? So they're both going to be around 11,000. You got Rory up there, which is probably honestly a misprice. But we'll talk about Rory in a minute because that's a pretty good opportunity. Morikawa, who is coming in really low projected ownership.
Interesting.
And then Brooks Koepka, who quite frankly should be priced up above Rory and Colin both. So value-wise above 10K, it's probably Brooks. Leverage-wise, it's 100% Rory or Colin, depending on how you want to go. And I would argue it's probably Morikawa more than Rory.
Yeah.
Just because no one wants to pay 10-3 for Colin Morikawa. I don't want to pay 10-3 for Colin Morikawa. He's not doing anything that warrants it.
Right.
But I think
that as good of a ball striker as he is, this might be the time where he just comes out of the woodworks and does what Colin can do. We haven't seen him do it this year, but we know how ridiculously talented Colin is. As far as accurate players go, he was probably one of the most pure accuracy players in the world. And so is he talented enough to play at 10-3 at low ownership? Yes. In a big tournament, am I going to play him there? Yes. In a mid-sized, small, single-entry tournament? Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, I feel more comfortable if I'm looking for a leverage spot, to be honest. I'll pay for Colin in some lineups just because you can't turn that down. I mean, if you look at the percentage of rostership, And the reason I'm so focused on rostership up here is, like, in my opinion, these top 5 guys are all very similar in what they bring to the table. Like, they're 90% well-rounded, right? Each one of them has a little bit of something that we're not super pumped about. But Morikawa at 7.3% projected rostership. I mean, it's hard to turn away from that when you've got Rahm coming at a projected 17.5 to 18, Scheffler right behind him at 16, 17. Even Rory is starting to creep up. Brooks is down there now. He's dropped down to about 11%. Rory at 11% though, to me seems closer to priced correctly, more likely in my opinion to win than Coughlin. Even though his form is not great. So Rory to me is probably more the leverage play I'm going to go with up there. I'm probably going to avoid Scotty and John, to be honest.
Yep, me too.
It's just too expensive to build. I mean, there's so much talent in this field. I'm not going to blow it all on the top guy.
No, especially when they really don't have an advantage here.
Correct.
You have no power here. The high 9s. Oh, Xander, obviously I'm in love with Xander. He's going to be a little chalkier. Cantlay is a DraftKings fantasy points dynamo, averaging 92 points per event. He's probably not going to be as chalky as Xander, if I'm guessing. Jordan Spieth, wrist injury. I don't know if he's going to be able to finish the tournament, even if he starts it. That's probably going to be just an empty space there. Speaking of fantasy points, Tony Finau scores a crap ton of fantasy points and an amazing ball striker, and he's won recently. But we don't play Tony Finau anymore, or at least Conor doesn't.
I'm going to play Tony Finau this week.
You are?
I'm going to play Tony Finau this week.
Say it louder for the people in the back.
I'm going to play Tony Finau this week.
I knew it. You can't ignore a guy who shows up in the top 5 of your board there. And you can't ignore him when he's underpriced and he's coming in red hot and he fits the golf course. See, all these things just play right into that forced your damn hand, Conor.
Yeah, I mean, he's number 3 in my model, man. I
knew it. He was 4th in mine. I was like, there's no way you can get around it.
And the scariest part,
I love to see you squirm.
The scariest part is the way that I've built a few lineups so far. He's my first guy in, and I'm just like,
yeah, because the 9s are loaded. The 8s are loaded.
Oh yeah, everybody should play Finau this week. Although I'm playing,
we need to clip this one for sure.
So I just want to be clear, it doesn't often work out for me.
No, it really doesn't. So kiss of death. If you're afraid of Conor being the kiss of death, then don't play Tony Finau. If you believe our metrics, which have been pretty damn spot on for 2 years straight without much of an outlier or bad performance in our models, then Tony Finau is going to contend for this win. And I'm going to lean on that side, because even if he doesn't win, this guy scores so many fantasy points, like above and head and shoulders about everybody else in the same pricing group, that it would be kind of silly not to.
And I'll tell you what really pushed me over the edge into playing him is I mean, not a lot of people are going to do this. I will take the $2,000 worth of savings and have Tony Finau be my first guy in.
Yep.
$2,000
is insane for a $10,000 cap.
Yeah. I mean,
or $50,000 cap. Yeah.
Worth of savings to play Tony Finau, who odds are will make the cut. Odds are will be in the top 10. Odds are still pretty good. He's in the top 5. And quite frankly, he rates out number 3. Like I said, I don't see any reason.
Oh, if he finishes in the top 10, he'll have the most fantasy points of anybody. That's how it works.
So yeah, I will eat some of the chalk on Xander. Xander rated out number 4 in my model. Xander also, the simulator loves Xander. Xander actually, out of 1,000 simulator rounds, wins this tournament. I think it was 64 times out of 1,000, which doesn't sound like a lot.
That's a lot in a field this big.
Yeah. The next, he was second only to John Rahm, who they had winning 100 times out of 1,000.
But still, that's crazy.
Which is nuts. But
Yeah.
So yeah, those are probably the two main guys in the nines that I'm looking at. Probably
Cam Young shaved his beard, or I was gonna play him.
I can't do Cam Young. I hope to God
So
he
this
wins.
is a banner day for you on the show, because not only are you you're feeling a little queasy on Rory, which isn't like you. You're playing Tony Finau, and you're feeling queasy about Cam Young. What's next? You're going to tell me you're not playing Victor Hovland either because his short game is atrocious on a course that demands a perfect short game?
That's precisely what I'm going to tell you. In the nines, man. In the nines, it's Xander, it's Finau, and it's a little bit of JT. Those are my nines.
I like Sungjae too. Sungjae 9 flat.
I do have some of these guys in my pool, but these are the guys I'm actively going heavy on.
The J Day discount, 8,900's nice. He's probably chalky as hell though.
Yeah, he's my second guy in, and yeah, he's actually not bad. He's at 9% projected, but he's at 9% projected because people can't help themselves but play people in over 10K. If you can trust yourself to build a balanced lineup at a major, he can be your second guy in. He can't be your second guy in if you start with Scotty or John.
I'm gonna start with my guy, like either Finau or Cam Smith, or and then I'm gonna go down to DJ because DJ at 88 is ridiculous. That's almost as insulting as the 35-1 or 30-1.
Love DJ at 88. Like that's
insanity.
Remember
what was it last year before he went to live? This guy was 10K, 10.5 minimum, no matter what.
Explain to me how he's less expensive than Brooks. Like,
right?
They're not that different of a golfer. Like, any given Sunday, one or the other would beat the other. You know what I mean? Like, it's a coin flip every time with those two. So,
Brooks at 10-1 seems crazy, and then you have $1,300 less for DJ.
The savvy thing to do with Brooks
play
is
both of them.
Don't play Brooks in DFS. Just bet Brooks.
Yeah,
Brooks is either going to win or he's not going to score you enough DFS points for it to matter. I mean, is my opinion.
Fitz 84, love it.
Yeah, you can have that one.
Yeah, as far as DFS points go, not the best scorer there. He's a grinder. He's gonna hang around the leaderboard, probably win if he's there close enough on Sunday. But only 67 points per game is 15 fewer than Tyrrell Hatton at $100 more, and 20 fewer than Max Homa at 8,700. Max Homa, if you're looking for scoring fantasy points, you just need the guy to make the cut. His off the tee game has been erratic, to say the least. The rest of his game is spot on. So, again, another guy that's so talented that if he's pulling his weakness together, then he's going to be there.
Yeah, I'm still going to stay out on Homa. I said weeks and weeks ago that I saw some stuff in him that just did not look like it was on the road to recovery, and it still doesn't. I like Dustin Johnson at 88 right above him, like we talked about. I really have a lot more interest in the lower eights with Tommy Fleetwood and Tom Kim.
Yes.
I will definitely gladly take the $700 savings from Max Homa going down to one of them.
Tom Kim, a little bit of an injury concern, rumors that he might withdraw. So that's going to point me more towards Fleetwood, who I've liked since last week. Off the tee to green with Tommy Fleetwood is spot on. He's nails. Tom Kim.
Fleetwood's been actually playing very quietly awesome golf for about.
He's been top 10 every week for 2 months.
Yeah, 2-3 months exactly.
And he's cheaper than Sahith Theegala, who I love but not here.
Hell no. I like Theegala is awesome on Birdie Fest, where he can have a double and turn around and get a couple of birdies in a row. Like
at places where if you miss the fairway by 30 yards, you're fine still.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is the number one
Not
reason I
OPL.
wouldn't have played Jordan Spieth if he showed up either. Like he
Oh,
would find a way to be 30 yards off the fairway behind a row of trees. You know what I mean? It's not a good look.
Yeah. Corey Connors, I hate Corey Connors the same way you hate Fitz. I can't do it. He can't putt. And the rest of his game is pretty solid. 7,900 is an amazing price, but Joaquin Niemann's the same price. Joaquin Niemann's the same price and probably less chalky, to be honest, because it seems like everybody's forgotten how great Joaquin Niemann is at golf, and nobody's playing him anywhere. Nobody's betting him, and I'm going to take all the profit. I'm going to take all the profit on Joaquin Niemann. You can join me. We're both on the Chilean train here. Choo-choo. Joaquin Niemann is a lock. Lock.
I got my
he is going to be in almost all my lineups. I don't care.
I got my ticket to ride that train for sure.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm all over Niemann. Corey Connors, absolutely not. No, I'm not.
Thank
not
you. Thank you for validating my concerns and hatred for Corey Connors. Love Canadians, not that one.
We have too many Canadians that watch our show, and I apologize for your talking shit on your brethren there, but he's not the play this week.
He's not the best of you.
No, I think two of the best listen to us weekly.
Yes, they do.
Who else we got?
Patrick Reed. Patrick Reed, 7,600. That's nasty.
Yeah, and he's weird just because I think Reed's another one. Like we said, he will grind it out. He's super competitive, but if he gets off to a slow start, I just don't know that he'll score enough points, and he won't place high enough. Where I just
Ricky scores more points than he does. Same price.
Well, and Fowler, like I said, Fowler is somebody that I genuinely believe has a shot at winning this week. So I'm huge heavy on Fowler at 7,600.
So two guys both scored really well in my model. One guy I don't want to play. The other guy I will play. Taylor Gooch and Wyndham Clark. Taylor Gooch, amazing, accurate player. Great short game. All around, you put him in the model for this course, and you're going to spit out a lot of Taylor Gooch. And I don't want to play him. I just don't. For all the live guys that I like, Taylor Gooch also playing out of his mind, back-to-back wins on Live Tour last month. And I just don't see it here. I don't see it here. Like, this is the kind of course that eats players like Taylor Gooch for breakfast. But Wyndham Clark, on the other hand, that's who I want. That's who I want. But we're talking about the fourth guy in my model and the seventh guy in my model. And I'm going to take an executive decision and put Taylor Gooch in a couple lineups, but Wyndham Clark's getting a lot more heavy exposure there. Yeah,
and I don't really know that if Taylor Gooch doesn't go to the Live Tour, if we're even talking about him. Like, to be honest, like Taylor Gooch played on the PGA Tour long enough that I can tell you I never won or lost as a result of Taylor Gooch. Like, he just was
because even when he won, he scored like 74 points.
Yeah, he's just not he's not a game changer at all. And he's coming in at 12% rostered in
gross.
Are single digits. Like, I would tell you, pick anyone else in the sevens. You're in better shape than a 12% Taylor Gooch. Give me a break. Woof. And Wyndham Clark.
Woof.
Wyndham Clark, like I already said earlier, every reason that I've been playing him for 6 weeks straight, I'm going to continue doing it. Like, he lines up really well here. He's playing some of the best golf of his life, and I think I think he's underpriced.
Correct. Siwoo is my next one at 71, but
I did have interest in Paul Casey, but he has withdrawn.
Yep. Not everybody can hack it.
Going back to
Casey's had a lot of injuries lately. I like watching him play, but he's been banged up.
Super nice guy too. Great approach game, great around the green game. I really did have some genuine interest in him, but Siwoo at 7,100. We already talked about Siwoo earlier. I think that's a smash play too. Siwoo's
Kurt Kitayama, same price.
Like Kurt.
See, DraftKings is actually giving Kurt some respect there, because at the Masters, where he didn't really line up well and he had just won Bay Hill, he was still sub 7. But we're seeing a little bit more. 250 to 1. It's like, we don't even know who you are. and 7,100 means you're not in that bottom tier anymore. Like they actually know who he is on DraftKings now. Like Kashmir Keith, like all these guys here: Siwoo, Webb Simpson, Davis Riley, Keith Mitchell, Kurt Kitayama. All these guys at 7,100. And Gary Woodland's at 7,100. Another ball striker that can bomb it. I know you're going to love him because he fits the prototype here. I worry a little bit about his around the green game, even though it's not a weakness of his. I don't know if it's strong enough here, if his approach game is off.
I'd worry more than a little bit. He's not good around the green.
No. If he finds one of those bunkers or fuzzy mustache of the bunker, he's going to be in trouble.
But to your point, Gary can crush a golf ball still. He tends to be pretty accurate off the tee. He's in the top 12 for approach over the last 24 rounds. And on top of that, he's really good from the long iron proximities. I mean, really good. Number 2. So yeah, I think all in all, it's a pretty good play.
Another guy that I don't want to play at 7K, who's let's see, number 8 in my model is Mito. Even though I love the Chilean, his best friend Joaquin Neiman is the top of my model. I can't play Mito. Mito in a major is the biggest choke artist that ever lived.
He rated out so well for me. Like he is the reason I ran 2 different models. I was like, this cannot be right.
I got to get rid of Mito.
And he didn't move. I did 100 rounds. I did 24 rounds.
Didn't matter. He's stuck.
He moved like 2 places. And I was like, what the hell? But no, I'm not playing Mito either.
Watch this fool get a top 10.
Probably.
Yeah. And then I have a couple in the 6s, including another live guy. But Tom Hoagie, 14th in my model, ball striking extraordinaire, can't putt to save his life. But I mean, and then short game, Tom Hoagie's short game, if he's missing greens, woof.
I'm gonna pass on Tom Hoagie this week too. So you should. Maybe I got.
Well, these are guys that are popping in my model that I'm afraid of because I just don't feel it. You know.
I never say I'm going to pass on Tom Hoagie. Just like I don't pass on real Hoagies ever.
This is like Bizarro World, Connor, this week.
Trying to win money.
You're fading your favorites. You're playing your hatred. I love it. I actually think you might win this week doing this strategy.
Oh, and then you'll look at my DK lineup and it'll be like Rory, Tom Hoagie.
Yeah.
Top of the 6K though. Brendan Steele rates out really well for me. If you need somebody in the mid 6s, there's really not a whole lot of reason to spend time on Brendan Steele. He's just a very steady, consistent player, decent in most aspects, kind of a shorter hitter. HV3, Harold Varner III.
That's the one.
A lot of interest in it.
6,600. The guy is a bomber, hits great iron shots. He's not bogey averse, which did knock him down a little bit in my model because bogey avoidance was heavily weighted. But everything else pointed to Harold Varner. He came in 11th in my model at 6,600. That got my attention because I root for Harold Varner. HV3. If he can avoid the big picture window on his scorecard, he can be in contention this week.
Yeah, Varner for me was just going off of memory, to be honest. He rated way low in mine. He was 44th in my model, which is not super low in this big of a field, and especially with the talent in this field, but definitely was not near the top 10. Good off the tee, good around the green, great from the longer proximity, 200 plus yards.
Yeah.
And Harold has competed before. So, I mean, it's 6,600. He's just in a different class than the rest of these guys down here.
Yes. Live tour discount.
My last 2, one right below Harold and one at the Deadman. Adria Amos rated out 32nd in my model.
Bless you.
No, exactly.
Amos.
Amaus. Both better at pronouncing the hard names, but
yeah. I had to say Gesundheit.
Check this out though. Dude kind of balls. I wasn't super familiar with him. I've heard of him before, obviously.
He's Spanish.
Number 4.
It's Adri Arnaus.
So Anyways, number 4 in driving distance. He's in the top 30 for all the approach metrics. He's number 10 in greens and regulation, which I think is pretty important this week if you're trying to avoid having to scramble. And the other thing too is he's pretty damn good. Number 11 in this field in the proximity distance we talked about. So really like him at 65. And then David Matruzzi, who we talked about earlier. I just think he's criminally underpriced at 6K. This is a guy that is on a completely different level. Should be probably high 6s, low 7s until he proves himself a bit. Can bomb the ball, good approach, able to shape different shots, and is pretty stout with a putter too. So really well-rounded golfer. And some people tailed me on him last week, and it saved you a boatload of money in DFS. So, and he made the cut and scored, I think, about 75 DK points, which isn't great, but for a guy that ended up finishing in the lower half of the 50s because of his weekend, some pretty decent points.
That's a great guy to end on. Ultimate basement value play. If you're building a lineup that costs a lot of money and you only have 6K or like 6,200 or less left over, that's a lock. That's the guy you play under 6,500, no matter what, because you heard it here. He is the second coming of Greg Norman, the greatest Aussie to ever play golf. And that's that. Conor said it. It must be true.
I will be accepting your apology next week, sir.
Yeah, I at first I thought you were making something up, which is not unlike you, but also it's pretty funny that the dude made the cut. I congratulate you for that. And I hope he does play because I'm going to have him in my player pool because he's only 6K. And you can fit in a lot of lineups that way with better players at the top with that price. So for that very reason, I like to have a guy that at least I recognize to just hit the button on.
Joking aside, 6K, it's a solid play. So, I mean,
if you have anybody you're willing to play down there, that's nice.
I'd play him at upper 6s, lower 7s, so too. So, I mean, he's mispriced. It's another misprice that we just found for you. I think it's a solid play.
You're welcome in advance. This has been the 19th hole live PGA Championship edition. We'll see you out at Oak Hill. If you're in Rochester, make sure you check the tournament out. Make sure you come back and check out the show again once it's over to either clown us or shower us with accolades. Join us again next week for whatever the hell tournament comes after the PGA Championship. Let's hit the outro.